Hi everyone, this is Big Dan here. Another video post that I wanted to do. Today I want to talk about my AR platform and why I chose what I chose to put on it. For those of you that are new to the AR platform and are looking to build one or to buy one off the shelf, give you some ideas of things to look for. For those of you that are already pretty experienced, wanted to give you some ideas on different things you can add, why you might add them, why you might not, and to give you some other ideas. So first off, let's go ahead and clear the weapon. Got an empty mag, clear chamber. So you've got a clear and safe weapon to describe here. First off, let's talk about the heart of the system, which is the upper. In this case, it is a Ruger SR556 upper. Got this about 2 years ago. At the time, the research that I was doing, I saw that Ruger had come out with a AR platform. Figure they're a very established company, good track record. In this case, it was a piston-driven system, which intrigued me. The research that I did led me to believe that a piston system would be more reliable, very similar to the AK type of system. For those of you that don't understand the difference with a piston-driven system, when you fire the weapon, bullet goes through the barrel, high pressure gas behind it, enters into the gas block. There is a piston right here. That energy from the high pressure gas is delivered to that, pushes it backward. There's a rod that runs back towards the bolt carrier group and thusly causes that to cycle the weapon. Now, in a direct impingement or normal gas system, depending on your nomenclature, what happens is bullet is fired, goes down the barrel, gas is redirected through a tube that runs back towards bolt carrier group, enters into the bolt carrier, and then actuates the bolt. Now, why is that good or bad? Well, you'll hear all sorts of different opinions out there. For me, one of the things that I've found over using this system, this piston operated system, is that the bolt carrier group stays very clean. I don't have to take it apart, be scraping carbon out of the inner part of the system. It stays cool, so you're not having to worry about heat fatigue, especially if you're running a lot of rounds through it. And it works. In my experience, with this particular upper, I've shot somewhere between 10 and 12,000 rounds through it. I have not had any issues regardless of ammo that I've used, everything from Russian surplus to high-end Hornady super performance varmint rounds. It just works. I don't know much more I can say about that. To describe the system in a little bit more detail, at the front, at the gas block and where the piston is, it's adjustable as far as the amount of gas that actually actuates the system. There's 3 different settings for that. They're adjustable through the front knob here. If you're running weak ammo or your gun's extremely dirty or whatever, you can adjust it to allow more gas to operate the system, so it's a little bit more, I would say, violent in its action. And you can close it all the way to where no gas enters the system and basically turns it into a single shot weapon. It's been very reliable. I have had 0 issues with this part of the weapon, and I've been very, very happy with it. Some detractors of the Ruger setup. Point out the fact that the rail, which is a Troy battle rail, is pinned both to the back end of the upper receiver as well as the gas block, so it is not a free float system. I know for extreme accuracy and such, you want a free float barrel. I don't think there's any question about that. There's really not a lot of debate about that. But in my experience with this particular setup, I haven't noticed any any negative issues in regards to that. It'll shoot sub MOA at 100 yards. So as far as I'm concerned, it's very accurate. Not being free floated has not been an issue. Excuse me, sorry about that. Moving beyond the upper, going towards the front and working back, I replaced the original A2 style birdcage flash hider that came with it with a PWS, Primary Weapon Systems TTO flash hider. This is very similar to the standard 5.56 flash hider that has the flash reducing tines on the front. I opted to go without those because flash reduction is not a critical point for me. What I really like is the muzzle control and impulse control that this particular brake offers me. There's numerous different brakes out there. Find one that works for you. I've tried a couple of different ones, some really high dollar ones, some really cheap ones. But in my experience, the PWS TTO has been very effective. I'm very happy with it. Allows for very small profile to the end of your barrel. You're not having to add 1.5 to 2 inches to it. And it works very well. You can read various reviews out there about the PWS brake, and as far as I've seen, they've all been positive. In my experience, it's been very positive. It's about $100, very effective on muzzle control, muzzle rise, impulse control as far as rearward movement is concerned. Really like it. Moving back, I really like gear sector hand stops and the light mounts for a couple different reasons. One, they're very well machined, very well built, interface very nicely with the rail system. They lock up very tight, very sturdy. Haven't had any issues with them. I like the profile of the hand stops, and I like the fact that they chose to mimic the same profile as the Tango Down rail covers, which I also utilize. Now I have big hands, so these rail covers work very well for me. They do increase the overall circumference of the front of the weapon, which again for me works great. If you have smaller hands, you'll probably want to choose some other rail systems or rail cover systems that aren't as bulky. They don't increase the overall circumference of the rail. A couple things that I like about the Tango Down rails are the fact that they're pretty heat resistant. One of the things about a piston operated system is all the heat is kept up front. So this part of the weapon does get relatively hot. The Tango Down rails are very effective at mitigating that heat and keeping it off my hands. They're also chemical resistant, oil resistant, so they keep their grip. They don't deteriorate with exposure to cleaning solutions, oil and such. So I've been very happy with those. Again, you got to find what works best for you. Utilizing gear sector light mount, I use a Surefire E2D LED Defender light with a Surefire remote switch. I found this to be an excellent setup for me. It's very bright, 200 lumens, very well built. Everything's O-ring sealed, shock resistant and such. The remote switch works well. Have had zero issues with it. The remote cord is Teflon wrapped, so it's heat resistant as well, so I haven't had issues with it melting or anything like that, and I find it works very well. I utilize a modified Magpul AFG2. For me, again, with my hands and my style of shooting, I went ahead and cut off the front portion of it that includes its own hand stop, so I could customize the length between this index point and the front hand stop. Plus, I like the larger aluminum hard hand stop that the Gear Sector hand stop provides. Added a small portion of Tango down rail, and it works very well for me. I can really get excellent control of the front of the weapon, and for me, again, it works very well. That's one of the things you have to understand. You can modify these weapons 7 ways to Sunday, and build it to what works best for you. Don't just say, hey, that's the design of the AFG or any other hand control for the front of the weapon. Make it work for you. Dremel tool is a wonderful thing. Moving back, rest the rail covers, Magpul standard ladder style rail covers work great. Keep things from getting snagged on it, protect my hands, again, from any heat buildup. Utilize Magpul RSA for a front sling mount. Works great, very happy with it, rock solid, nice large loop, very easy to attach to, whether you're using an HK style hook or MS3 sling like I use. Works great for that. Very happy with it. Moving farther back, as far as a sight is concerned, right now I'm utilizing a Bushnell TRS-25. Relatively inexpensive. You can find them anywhere from $125 down to $79, depending on where you look and what specials you can find. Mimics an Aimpoint Micro very well. It's a 3 MOA dot, very bright. Has held zero very well, haven't had any issues with that. O-ring sealed caps for windage and elevation adjustment. Very positive clicks on the brightness adjustment, so it's not going to accidentally turn on when you don't want it to, getting it in and out of a case or whatnot. Again, very happy with it. I will likely switch to a true Aimpoint Micro, probably the 2 MOA dot version, just because it's more rugged, reliable, it's field proven, and I want a smaller dot. But for the price, you really can't beat this. As far as the mount is concerned for that, utilizing a Alamo 4-star D-lock mount. Been very happy with this mount. It's lightweight, very well built, very positive lockup. It has 2 fixed pins that interface with the rail, and then the release knob is large, easy to adjust. It's spring loaded, so even after you undo it, which I've tightened it up so much I can't do it finger wise, keeps the sight on until it's all the way out, and then you push it forward, that releases the spring tension and you can take the sight off. So even if this comes undone, the sight will stay on. You'll notice I do not have any backup irons. Personal choice. I found in situations where I've forgotten to turn on the red dot that I can use it basically as a barrel sight, and it's worked fine for that. Again, close range. Obviously you don't want to do that for any sort of long range shooting, but once you use your setup long enough and you have it tuned so that when you bring it up and you get your cheek weld and such, that it should be pointing where you're looking. Very similar to shotgun bird hunting, which is my main background. from years of doing that. I really took that methodology to the AR platform so that it's set up so that when I bring it up, it's pointing where I'm looking. Now again, you're not going to take precision shots with that method, but for close-in work, it'll do the job. Moving farther back, utilize a BCM gunfighter charging handle. Been very happy with this, very well built. I like, this is the largest of the 3 different sizes that they offer. Works very well, rugged, haven't had any issues with it. And I like the ability, just easily come in, charge the weapon. If there's a malfunction or anything, I really don't have to think about it. The release handle is large enough that you can utilize structures that might be handy. If you're down to one hand, you find in the corner of a building or something, you can utilize that. You can even utilize a mag. Anyway, very happy with it. Rainier Arms has recently come out with a ambidextrous style charging handle called the Raptor. I'm interested in that. I might try that out in the near future, but for the time being, BCM gunfighter charging handle works great. Well built piece of kit, and have had 0 issues with it. Moving farther back, utilize the Magpul UBR stock. I chose this for a couple of different reasons. One, it's built like a tank, very sturdy. It's adjustable. And it is relatively heavy as far as a buttstock is concerned. So keep that in mind. For me, I like that because the Ruger upper utilizes a heavy profile barrel, which obviously induces some weight. So initially it was rather front forward balance wise. Utilizing the UBR with its extra weight helped balance that, and has gotten it pretty close to being balanced on the front takedown pin, which is kind of where I like to have the my ARs balance out at. It works good for me. Went ahead, added the extended butt plate, both for comfort as well as distance. Swapped out the sling attachment point here for their aluminum version that also has some teeth on the bottom end. I think they're initially, designed there for if you're having to use the weapon to beat somebody up with. I like them because if you're utilizing a rear sandbag, if you're trying to do some precision long-range shooting with it, helps with the interface to the sandbag, gives you a positive grip to that. And aesthetically, I like it as well. Again, these are our toys. We like to build them how we want them. So just something to consider. One thing you'll notice for a rear sling attachment point, I went ahead and found a way to attach another Magpul RSA to the back here. Now it interfaces to the same rail that the rear portion of the stock slides on. It wasn't designed for that. I had to swap out the screw for a longer one, add some Loctite to it, torque it down good, and it is very rock solid. Reason I did that was I did not like having the QD swivel right here. Again, with my big hands and utilizing the grip that I use, it would get in the way, especially as I'm working the safety selector. I didn't like having that there. Also, this is in a permanent spot. It doesn't twist around. I always know where it is. So if I'm running a single point sling setup, I always know where it is. I can interface directly to it, and I like that about it. Not part of the original design or theory of use, but works great for me. Really like it. Does not interfere with my cheek weld. Doesn't get me in the face or anything like that. Does reduce how short you can make the stock, but again, for me, I'm 6'5", it hasn't been an issue. I've got long arms and long neck, so again, find something that works for you. If you have smaller hands and whatnot, maybe the QD standard setup works great for you. Awesome if it does. For me, it didn't. Now, going to the lower receiver, I utilize a AR15.com lower receiver. This is the same design that Magpul had. When they were making lowers, AR15.com bought it from them and decided to manufacture them. Only difference is that they added the AR15.com logo. I'm not really hung up on what logos are imprinted on there. They're pretty subtle and I really don't care. It's fully ambidextrous lower, ambidextrous mag release from Norgon, which I highly recommend. They're a great ambidextrous mag release. A little pricey in my opinion, but low profile, easy to install, and they work. They work great. Ambidextrous bolt release as well. Great idea and all. It's nice to have it built in there. I really don't like the position necessarily of it, so I went ahead and added the Magpul bad lever, which I really like. I like being able to not only release the bolt from there, but I also like being able to use my trigger finger to lock the bolt back. I really like being able to do that instead of having to switch around and having to utilize the standard way of locking the bolt back. So again, I highly recommend the Magpul bad lever. I believe it stands for battery assist device. Works great. Again, easy to install, relatively inexpensive, and really reduces the amount of steps in the manual of arms for certain situations. So highly recommend that. Safety selector, Battle Arms Development ambidextrous safety selector. In this case, it is the 45-degree version, which I really like having a 45-degree safety selector. It's very easy to use. And I like that reduced throw instead of having to go all the way to 90 degrees and all the way back. Great for speed and ease of use. And also, again, with my big mitts, I like keeping the safety selector out of the way of my thumb as well as my trigger finger. Regardless of your style of shooting, I highly recommend 45-degree safety selector. Internally, utilizing a Geissele SSA 3-gun, I believe that's the correct designation for it. Great trigger group, nice 3.5, 4-pound pull, very crisp, breaks like glass. Very quick reset, very positive reset. You can feel when it resets. And again, very, very well built. I've also utilized the Wilson TTU drop-in trigger unit and a different upper that I've had. Those work great as well. I've heard reports on reliability after hard use with the Wilson. You know, the internet's full of opinions, so take it for what it's worth. I really like the way it felt. Very, very similar to the Geissele. The Wilson's a little easier to install. Again, it's a drop-in, fully assembled trigger unit. But I've been very happy with the Geissele. I've had zero complaints with it. Works great, feels great, and you can't ask for much more than that. Pistol grip, Magpul MAID, mission adaptable grip. Really like these. Different back straps you can use depending on your lower. They have front straps that have the built-in trigger guard, straps that don't have a finger index. Been very happy with it, great texture. Internally you can get different modules. I like to have my oh shit rounds in my mag. You can have bolt pieces or batteries. They make different inserts for it. Again, great design, great piece of kit. And well built. I am interested in the, I think it's Bravo company. They've got a reduced angle grip that I'm looking at trying out with the different, or the newer style of shooting where it's elbow in, tight. Having that reduced angle, I think is a great thing. But again, you have to find out what works best for you and go from there. That's it for me. Hope you enjoyed the presentation. If you have questions, feel free to post them. Again, this is just my take on the AR platform and what I utilize and some of the reasons why I did. Your mileage may vary, and you will have your own set of concerns and design criteria when you build your own. Whether that's going for a gas system as opposed to piston, different lights, different mounts, different grips, different stocks. There's so many choices out there when building these. You just have to work out what works best for you. Unfortunately, you probably have to go through some money to find out what that is after you try out some different options. Hopefully I've given you some ideas and might help you reduce the amount of cash you have to spend to find out what works best for you. Have a great day. Stay safe out on the range. Keep it on target. Remember, hits count.